Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton as a 10-minute book. Adeline Riley, a successful author of dark romance novels, returns to her ancestral home, Parsons Manor, after the death of her grandmother, Nana. The manor, a 3-story Victorian house built in the 1940s, stands as a monument to a shadowed past. Its Gothic decor and eerie atmosphere reflect Addie's own fascination with darkness. The black ribbed ceiling, grand chandelier, and checkered floors all whisper tales of generations past. As Addie steps inside, a chilling draft and stale air envelop her, setting the stage for the unsettling events to come. Despite her success, a sense of unease settles upon her. Addie is soon scheduled to appear at a local bookstore. Before the book signing, Addie speaks with her mother. Their conversation is strained. Addie's mother suggests that the manor should be torn down. At the bookstore, Addie is met by hordes of readers. While signing books, she notices a man staring at her. He possesses mismatched eyes, one dark, the other ice blue, bisected by a prominent scar. The intensity of his gaze unnerves her, creating a feeling of bees buzzing beneath her skin. This encounter leaves her shaken. Seeking solace, Addie meets her best friend Dea for drinks. Dea, ever pragmatic, suggests Addie needs to get laid. Later, while at the manor, Grayson, a casual acquaintance, visits. His visit is interrupted by an unsettling creak and the distinct feeling of being watched. After Grayson leaves, Addie discovers 3 hidden diaries within the walls of her house, belonging to her great-grandmother, Genevieve "Jiggy" Parsons. The diaries reveal Genevieve's life, filled with scandalous stories and a stalker of her own, which both unsettles and intrigues Addie. Addie feels drawn to Genevieve, a woman her Nana described as a freak. As days pass, roses and whiskey begin to mysteriously appear in the house, mirroring events described in Jiggy's diary, escalating Addie's fear. A chilling note threatens her, and she turns to Sheriff Walters, who begins an investigation. Meanwhile, the man from the bookstore who goes by Zaid stalks Addie. However, Zaid is not his real name. Under the alias The Shadow, he operates as a vigilante who rescues children from human traffickers. Scarred and intense, he operates with ruthless efficiency, a stark contrast to his growing obsession with Addie. He sees her beauty, something that is pure in his dark world, and is captivated by it. His world is dark, filled with violence and a need to protect the innocent, a path that led him to Addie. After rescuing girls from a warehouse, Zaid is drawn back to Addie. He sees her as his little mouse, a term of endearment laced with possessiveness. Dea, ever the concerned friend, encourages Addie to leave the house, sensing the danger closing in. Addie resists, focused on finishing her manuscript and on her great-grandmother's story, but reluctantly agrees to a girls' night. However, Addie finds herself more and more attracted to the danger, to Zaid. Zaid orchestrates encounters with Addie. One night, she is kidnapped, blindfolded, and taped, leaving her helpless and terrified. Zaid is the one who finds her, but in some ways, he is more terrifying than whoever took her. As Addie delves deeper into her great-grandmother's diaries, she discovers a dark history of stalking and obsession. The last diary entry speaks of fear, and a missing page hints at a hidden truth. Dea uncovers that Jiggy was scared before her death, and that her great-grandfather mentioned Jiggy acting strangely. Addie becomes determined to uncover the truth behind Jiggy's murder, reading through old reports and finding inconsistencies. They determine that because her great-grandfather was a violent alcoholic, he was the killer. Zaid continues to protect Addie, eliminating threats and manipulating situations to keep her safe. He sees Addie as unique and becomes enraged when others disrespect her. He kidnaps and tortures a man who threatened Addie, demonstrating his possessive nature. His actions are brutal, fueled by a desire to protect Addie from the darkness he knows so well. He sends a message through the torture of a man named Archie. He is cold and calculated, and does what he wants. Addie finds herself torn between fear and fascination, repulsed by Zaid's violence yet drawn to his intensity. He breaks into her house, and a dangerous game ensues. He offers her a choice: run and hide, and if he doesn't find her, he will leave her alone. The chase culminates in a confrontation where Zaid asserts his dominance, leaving Addie both terrified and aroused. He uses a gun on her sexually, drawing out both pleasure and fear. He asks, "Who's the only one allowed to touch you, Adeline?" And Addie lies, "You." Zaid is a paradox, a protector and a tormentor. He acknowledges the wrongness of his actions, but cannot suppress his desires. Addie's reactions fuel his obsession, and her actions speak louder than her words. He manipulates situations, such as involving Addie in an encounter with a dangerous senator, Mark, to keep her close and test her. He orchestrates a fake relationship to protect her, blurring the lines between reality and manipulation. He is not afraid of anything and will step in whenever. Addie and Zayd's interactions become increasingly charged, a dance between consent and control. The lines of their connection become increasingly blurred. She is not a damsel in distress, but a woman navigating a terrifying world with shadows and the hint of danger. One evening, Zayd takes Addie to a party at a senator's house, where she is to get information on Jiggy, and Zayd makes it a point to watch Addie. He was not planning on getting her involved, but it was more necessary to get information about Jiggy and the senator's plan. Zayd and Addie continue their game of desire and control. Addie denies having daddy issues when Zayd asks, but he's not convinced. Later, Zayd's past catches up with him as he becomes embroiled in a mission to save children from a trafficking ring. He reveals more of his work to Addie and his connection to the organization that saves children from sex trafficking. While at a fair, Zayd finds Addie in a house of mirrors and punishes her. He makes it clear that he is the only one for her. Addie cannot deny that she wants him. After their encounter, Zayd disappears, but Addie knows he will be back. Zayd's dark world clashes with Addie's attempts at normalcy. As Zayd becomes more entangled in his mission, Addie starts to come to terms with the darkness within herself and the world around her. He is captured after Addie is taken. He plans to infiltrate the traffickers with his crew. As Addie investigates the truth about her great-grandmother's murder, she uncovers a hidden letter from one of Jiggy's lovers, Ronaldo, that states, "I can think of doing is cutting you from my life to end this misery." Also, Dea uncovers that the handwriting in the confession note matches Addie's Nana's handwriting. They realize that Nana killed Jiggy to stop the affair and lived with the guilt ever since. Ultimately, Zayd rescues Addie from those who try to use her, reaffirming his role as her protector. Zayd confesses to Addie his love for her and that she can't escape him. They need each other, despite their natures. Addie asks Zayd to rescue a girl while at a ceremony, and he does. Zayd knows that he is a monster, but it's what he has to do to save children, and Addie accepts that. Zayd states that it was the society who wanted her because of who she was before he came into the picture. This is the beginning of Addie and Zayd's journey and acceptance of each other. As Addie settles back into life at the manor, she is changed, but she has an acceptance of the darkness within herself and within Zayd. In the epilogue, it is mentioned that Dea is kidnapped and texts Addie. Rio and Max take her, and they will be in trouble when Zayd finds them. Addie knows that nothing will ever be normal with Zayd, but that's what she wants. Thanks for listening to this 10-minute book. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more bite-sized books. Got a book in mind you'd love to hear in 10 minutes? Drop it in the comments below. See you in the next one.